Hello everyone, and welcome to another Honkai Star Rail video. So it's time for another season of Pure Fiction, and this season we have the follow-up attack buff once again. I believe we had something similar, if not exactly the same, in a previous season. And I've yet to build a follow-up character, unless you count Kafka, which we will not. This time around wasn't nearly as bad as the last few seasons, where it literally took me an entire day to clear the 4th stage at 3 stars. This time it only took about an hour or so. It did take a few attempts because I tried to use Zile on the first half, but for some reason, even doing around 60k on her skill, she wasn't able to kill off some of the trash mobs for her resurgence proc. So I'm guessing unless there's a specific season in Pure Fiction where it buffs up skills or just gives a flat amount of damage boost, my Zile is going to be benched until then. Anyways, let's go over the teams that I used for both halves. For the first half, I have my Acheron team with Pela and double support, Bronya and Sparkle. Basically, both teams with no sustain, a hyper carry type of playstyle. As for the buff, the only one that is usable for me is the third one. Apart from follow-up attacks, all other kinds of damage dealt by allies can also accumulate process equal to 18% of the original damage amount. As for the second half, I decided to use my DOT team featuring Black Swan, Kafka, Ting Young, and Ruan Mei. And for the buff, it's the exact same thing. Even though Kafka has a follow-up attack, it is not the majority of her damage. In fact, it barely does any damage. The majority of her damage comes from her DOT, which her follow-up attack does apply. Aside from that, the first half I did make a couple of misplays. I probably could have scored a little bit higher. It was mostly just due to poor skill point management, as I don't have much experience playing Acheron yet. I just recently built her up in the last couple of months. And we somehow actually scored higher than I expected on the second half just due to pure lucky aggro RNG. But regardless, we got to 3 stars in the 4th stage. So I hope you guys enjoy the gameplay as usual. For the first half, we start with Bronya's technique, Sparkle's technique, and we're going to initiate the fight with Pela's technique for the defense down. And for this first half, the most annoying part is the gorilla. Since we don't have a sustain, I pretty much have to focus him down immediately. Otherwise, he's going to do way too much damage to my entire team. Plus, there are those soldiers. I forgot what the name of them are, but they advance forward their allies. And when they advance forward, that gorilla, he can pounce on your units twice. So as you can see here, we're trying to kill off the side mobs first, but we don't do quite enough damage with Acheron's skill. I don't have it fully leveled. We start focusing the gorilla now. We use Pela's ultimate to apply the defense down. IPC soldiers aren't doing that much damage, luckily. There's Bronya's ultimate. But currently the gorilla is targeted on Acheron, so we want to make sure we kill off that gorilla. Acheron definitely has damage, for sure, with double hyper carry. Or not double hyper carry, double harmony support, allowing her to be a hyper carry. Gonna advance her forward one more time. Choosing a target here, decided that this one would be the best one. And immediately we pop the ultimate, so we can kill off the gorilla, or at least get really close to it. That is definitely overkill. One good thing about this extra damage we deal, it gets converted into the buff, as you can see right there, which does a decent amount of AoE damage. I use a skill here, and this is where I feel like maybe I should just be, even though like we have plenty of skill points, when you have to skill on Bronya and Sparkle every turn, it adds up. So even though we got the ultimate from Pale there, I feel like maybe we should have just basic attacked. Because if I had to choose between getting a debuff or getting a stack, see right there, we didn't have enough skill points on Acheron, so we just had the basic there. If I had to choose between getting a stack of Crimson, I forgot if it's Crimson Knot or, I think that's what it's called. But anyways, if I had to choose between getting it from Pela's basic or getting it from giving Acheron another turn using Bronya's skill or Sparkle's skill, I think it's a better choice to choose either Bronya or Sparkle's skill to advance Acheron forward. It also gives her like a crit damage boost or a straight up damage boost depending on who gives the advance forward to Acheron. So Pela should just be there as a skill point generator, and whenever her ult comes up, which should be pretty often since it's fairly low energy, that's when you get an additional stack of Crimson Knot. Alright, we've been getting pretty lucky too, actually, on this half as well, with the aggro. As you can see, all our characters have taken roughly about the same amount of damage, and we never really got smacked by the gorilla yet, since I've always been focusing the gorilla down. Here we pop the ultimate, and I believe this brings us to the last wave. And boom, there's the resurgence, or not resurgence, whatever, the buff that you get from Pure Fiction. Once again, targeting the gorilla so we don't die. Even though this is the last wave, we still have at least about 2 cycles left. Or it's 1 cycle there, it's technically 2 cycles. So we gotta survive, at least, and deal as much damage as we can. Alright. Pushing Akron up again. Gonna pop that ult immediately to kill the gorilla. Now there's 2 of them, so gotta be really careful. Here we just kill off the gorilla with Pela's ultimate here. Should deal enough damage. Alright. Now we're on the last wave, so I believe we just start focusing down the trash mobs, which have very little HP, so we should easily be able to kill them off. Unfortunately, the Crimson Knots all stacked onto Bronya, and in case you guys didn't know, you can't kill off the main boss on the last wave until you've killed off all the trash mobs, so it kind of sucks that all the Crimson Knots are on her. So even if we end up killing her, which we won't, we don't have enough turns left, we're not going to be able to clear the stage, which I fully did not expect to. We kill off the trash mobs to the side for some extra points, and we rip one last ultimate onto Bronya. Does quite a bit, almost 1,000,000 damage, plus the buff there. And here comes the smack from the gorilla. This is what we want to avoid. Unfortunately here, Bronya targets Pela and pushes her back. She had 1 more turn, so we could have scored a little bit more. I could have gotten 1 more ultimate. Anyways, second half 2, Teen Young's techniques, Ruame's technique, Black Swan's technique, and we start the fight off with Kafka's technique. Full use of our technique points. I think I did fairly well in the second half. I played it, there may have been like 1 or 2 mistakes I've made, but compared to the first half, I definitely played the second half better. And the aggro definitely was pretty lucky, and definitely say the aggro RNG did not target my characters to the point where one of them took too much damage. We're gonna hold off Black Swan's ultimate here.
All will be swept away by the wind.
There's Ruame's ultimate. Unfortunately, of course, they target Black Swan, who has her energy full. Now we're gonna wait for all the DOTs to proc again, and then now we're gonna use Black Swan's ultimate, since there's more enemies out there, or fresh new enemies, along with Kafka's to blow them all up. Almost dead. We just basic attack here for the follow-up from Kafka, and then the shock should kill him. Alright, second wave. These TVs are so annoying. You have to play in a way where you make them happy or you just straight up like kill them. Because if you let them get off their angry AoE attack, you lose a lot of energy. Or your entire team loses a fair amount of energy. So we're going to target them, break them. Here I'm deciding to pick a target. I think I choose the left side. Yep, since we're going to rip Kafka's ultimate here after I use Black Swan's skill. There you go. And there's Kafka's ultimate. Boom! Almost 300k damage, not too bad. It's funny because Akron could actually... I think my Akron could probably full clear the second half. But the issue is, I wouldn't have a team for the first half if I used Akron on the second half. So I decided, this side is all weak to Lightning. Kafka does a pretty good job along with Black Swan. So I figured that they would score at least 30k. And my Akron's strong enough to a point where I feel like, as long as they're not like, resistant to lightning or something, she can pretty much just brute force any part or any half of the Pure Fiction. So that's what we ended up doing. Alright, there you go. Happy energy regen. So Ting Young and Kafka gets some energy there. Have to kill them off now because they're all angry. Okay, we got the ultimate. I think we smack this one. I don't think we kill it though. We're trying to choose a target here. Smack this one. Doesn't quite kill. The follow-up attack does kill though. We pretty much have to target that TV, I believe. Yeah, the angry TV, otherwise it's going to use its attack in. Yeah, there you go. So now it's happy, it gives Black Swan some energy, and since he did that, we're going to use the ultimate here to clear out the rest of these mobs. Here I'm deciding, should I use my skill or basic? I decide the basic because if I use the skill on Ruan Mei, we wouldn't have any skill points for Kafka, the user's skill. So there you go. Better skill point management, definitely, than the first half. Alright, here's Sam. I was a little bit worried about this last wave because Sam, if you guys didn't know, every time you consume skill points, you end up killing yourself, essentially. So that's definitely not something you want, and without a sustain or shielder, you die really fast. Use the skill over there. We still cannot use, oh, I actually did use it here. Oh, that's because Ting Young has a turn. Yeah, that's why. We used the Ruan Mei skill because Ting Young has a turn to use her basic, allowing us to generate a skill point for Kafka. Here, I'm trying to pick a target. It should be probably one of the birds. Actually, no, we choose the main robot because I'm trying to weakness break him. There you go. Okay. There's the buff, quite a bit of damage, and we pop the ultimate. Yeah, that's fine. I was thinking maybe I should have waited until the two birds took the turn, but that would have taken too long. So we just end up using Kafka's ultimate to clear out the wave. Now we got two annoying robots. That's not fun. He dies to the Arcana, or Black Swan's DOT. I believe we're just going to focus on the weaker little birdie mobs here because they have very little HP, and we can probably get through a bunch of them if we just focus on them.
There's more to life. Welcome, customers.
I believe we just Ting Young basic here instead of skill. Because I think I want to use Black Swan's skill as well. Because Kafka and Black Swan are going to take the turn. Yeah, so we just use the basic, no buff from Ting Young's skill. Arcana doing its work. Kill off these two mobs here. Or at least one of them. And this is where the lucky RNG comes into play. So it goes for Kafka, which allows her to ult here. Doing a lot of damage. Now it goes for Ruan Mei. If it hit Ting Young or Kafka, either of them will be dead right now. So, extremely lucky RNG. Not really yeah, I guess that's the best target for Black Swan's skill. Into her ultimate, that should clear out the two birds to the side. Once again, we need the skill point. Or not really, but I decided to use the ultimate here. And luckily, the Dance actually pushes Kafka forward. So I'm kind of glad that I didn't use Ting Young's skill there. There would have been no point anyways, because Kafka wasn't going to get a turn until I realized the Dance allowed her to get an extra turn. And we get another ultimate here. So, last burst of damage to finish things off. Alright, and we finish it with 65k points. Alright, now let's go over my characters and their gear. Starting off with my Acheron. These are her stats. Definitely still needs more improvement, but it's the best I can do for now. Light Cone is her signature Light Cone at S1. Traces are not maxed out yet. When the upcoming double drop event comes out, I am definitely going to max everything out except for her basic attack. These are her relics. The 4-piece, I believe this is the Pioneer set. It can still use some improvement. This one's pretty good here. Pretty decent rolls, only one bad roll. I have two options here for this piece. I have one that has crit rate and crit damage, but Currently, I prefer the additional crit rate, so we're going for this piece here, which is okay. I think I've went over this piece before. Originally, I was going to toss it because they had these 3 stats, but then I rolled crit rate on the 4th roll, and I continued to roll 1 more crit rate, and then the last 2 went into flat attack, which is fine. So this ended up being a usable piece, but if I come across something better, which may or may not happen, I'll probably use that piece instead. And for boots, yeah, I've been struggling trying to get a good pair of boots. This is the best ones I can pull up so far. This is one that had both crit rate and crit damage that I grinded up earlier in the week, and this is how it ended up after I finished enhancing it. So I pretty much tossed it, because this piece is definitely better than that one. So the grind continues for the attack percentage boots for Acheron. I do have a pair of speed boots here, but I prefer to run attack percent and just run Acheron with either Bronya or Sparkle. Our Planar Sphere and Link Rope are a broken set, but these 2 pieces currently are good enough for her. The subs are pretty decent. I am probably going to use all my relic pieces in the future for the Izumo set, which gives her crit rate and attack percent. I'm not going to farm that world in the Simulated Universe because I don't want the other set, and I feel like it'd just be a complete waste of my Trailblaze power, so we're going to save all our relic pieces and the condensed resin to craft both the Planar Sphere and the Link Rope. As for Eidolons, you guys should know by now, she's at Eidolon 2. Alright, next is my Pela. These are her stats. I tried to build her like a sub DPS Pela. It's probably a bad idea, as if I built her normally, she'd probably have a higher speed, probably around 160, 161, and that probably would have helped my skill point management a lot easier. So, ripperoni. Lycone is the sweaty Lycone. Traces are fairly underinvested. May or may not put a little bit more investment in the future, as I use Pela pretty often. Probably even more often than Silverwolf, which is kind of sad considering Silverwolf is a 5-star, but whatever. These are her relics. Like I said, try to make a sub DPS. I try to get funny, giving her a 2-piece attack set with the Musketeer and the, I think it's called Prisoner. Yeah, Prisoner set. Planar Sphere and Link Rope are just a broken set, but they have the substats that benefit her. Eidolon, she's at Eidolon 6. Alright, next is my Scuffed Bronya. She definitely needs better stats. As you can see, that crit damage is pretty low. Has barely enough effect resist for the Broken Keel set as well. Overall, just not too great, and she's kind of slow for a... If you want to go fast Bronya, she needs to have a little bit more speed, I believe. Lycone is But the Battle Isn't Over at S1. These are her traces. I could put a little bit more investment, although I think the wind damage nodes are kind of useless, as I rarely use her basic attack. Relics, she's on a 4-piece speed set and a broken keel set. Yeah, all the good pieces are on Sparkle. That's why Bronya is kind of scuffed right now. Eidolons, I got lucky. I guess you could say lucky or unlucky. I lost the 50-50 on Robin's banner and ended up pulling an extra copy of Bronya, so she's at E1. Alright, next is Bronya version 2.0, aka Sparkle. These are her stats. Definitely much better than Bronya, although I don't have the broken keel set on her, so that's another thing. Lycone is Dance, Dance, Dance. This is the lower superimposition one at superimposition level 1. These are her traces. When the double drop event comes out, I'm going to be maxing out her skill for sure. Relics, 4-piece speed set, and a broken set for the Planar Sphere. As for Eidolon, she doesn't have any. Alright, moving on to the second half, starting off with Black Swan. These are her stats. I recently got a piece that had a lot of effect hit rate, even though she's already at the threshold technically, but it also gave a lot of attack. So my Black Swan became a little bit slower. She went from 138 to 134, but the speed threshold is at 134 anyways, and I think she gets like 10 more speed from Ruan Mei anyways, so I think it's fine giving up that for speed for the extra attack and additional effect hit rate. Her Lycone is Eyes of the Prey at S5. These are her traces. I think they're fine for now. The most important one is obviously her talent, which I have maxed out. The other 3, I think at level 5 and level 8 are fine. She does enough damage as is. These are her relics, 4-piece Prisoner and 2-piece Space Sealing Station, which I find to be better. Not technically better, but it's easier to, get the set effect because you only need 120 speed. And the World 3 actually is pretty decent because you also get the Fleet of the Ages. I don't know. I have mixed feelings between the Space Sailing Station set and the other attack percentage set that you get. Because the other one, you just need way too much speed. I mean, you can hit the 135 speed threshold, but the 160 speed threshold, oh man, that is really rough to try to hit. As for Eidolon, she does not have any. Alright, next is her partner in crime, Kafka. These are her stats. Lycone is Good Night Sleep Well at S3. Traces. Relics is 4-piece, prisoner set. No planar sphere set, unfortunately. I'll probably end up running the Space Sailing Station as well, unless I happen to get a really cracked pair of the, I think it's called, let me find it real quick. Where is it? This set, the Glamoff set. She currently has, 150 speed. If I get like pretty good speed rolls or speed substats on this set, then I'll probably run it, because when I run her with Ruan Mei, she'll definitely hit the 160 speed threshold, and that'll make it way stronger than the Space Sailing Station set. And I do plan on running a faster Kafka, but until then, we're just gonna have to wait and use this broken set. Eidolon, she's at Eidolon 0. Alright, next is my Ting Young. These are her stats. Lycone is the Dance 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 at Super Imposition level 4. Just need one more copy to get to S5. These are her traces. Could use a little bit more investment. Relics, 4-piece Musketeer set, and a Broken Keel set. As for Eidolon, she's at Eidolon 4. 2 more copies. I like how it's been over a year and I still don't have an E6 Ting Young. Alright, and last but definitely not least is my Ruan Mei. I changed up her relics a little bit. I changed her to the 4-piece Break Effect set, just to play around and see how it worked out. I don't think it really makes much of a difference unless I'm running like a purely Break Effect team. Although, if I did, I should have moved my Ting Young to a 4-piece Hackerspace, since I decided to put the 4-piece Break Effect set on my Ruan Mei. Her Lycone is Memories of the Past at S2. These are her traces. I could probably max them out if I really wanted to, although I don't really think it's necessary, but might do it in the future sometime. And this is the 4-piece Break Effect set I was talking about. Along with the Broken Keel. The Broken Keel doesn't really benefit Kafka and Black Swan, but it's the only, relic set that I have available for the planar sets. I don't have a Fleet of the Ageless that fits Ruan Mei currently, which is why I said I feel like World 3 is like severely underestimated and undervalued by a lot of people, because both sets, they may not be best in slot on some characters. Actually, no, there's some characters that use the Ageless set pretty well, like Fu Xuan, and in this particular case, Ruan Mei uses it really well for a DOT team. But both sets, they have at least some sort of value. They'll always have some use, regardless of whether or not they get power creep by future relic sets or not. As for Eidolons, she's at Eidolon 0. Alrighty guys, well that's gonna be it for this Honkai Star Rail video. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. But other than that, I'll see you guys in my next Honkai Star Rail video. Peace.
Good times never last. Time to say bye. Hmm.